Hello and welcome to TDM 205. This is day one of our 7.5 week exploration into the big wide world of travel and tourism. I'm excited to be here. I'm your instructor, Brenda Campbell. We'll get into a little bit more of my background in the video Meet Your Instructor, which is in the learning materials for Module 0, which is where you're currently at. I'm really excited to be here. This is a really exciting time for you to be taking this course. Given our current pandemic lack of travel, I think this is a really exciting time to go ahead and embark on this virtual trip around the globe and to do a deep dive into the world of travel and tourism from an academic perspective. This is syllabus day. This is my favorite day. When I was in undergrad and graduate school, I just love syllabus day because it really sets the tone and lays the foundation for what is to come. And it's basically your roadmap to success in this course. So grab your syllabus and let's go over it together. And if you need to pause this and go grab it, just go ahead and do that. Hit pause, go grab the syllabus, and then meet me back here. Okay, tourism is a complex and multifaceted phenomenon. As this is an introductory course, we're going to examine the components and concepts of travel and tourism from a wide scale and scope. We're going to look at tourism from the perspective of being a global industry, which is what I think most people tend to think of when they think of travel and tourism. But we're also going to take a look at it as an academic area of study. And that's, why you're here. That's why I'm here. This is a really, really important component of travel and tourism. We're going to also take a look at the historical origins of travel and tourism all the way through today. And I do want to put a caveat on there and just sort of let you become aware of the fact that a lot of the historical narrative of travel and tourism, it comes from a Western lens, meaning that it is people from the West who have written the narrative, and that is not an accurate representation of or an accurate way to narrate this phenomenon, especially given the trends that have been arising and coming to fruition, especially now, is that the rise of the middle class of some of the world's most populated nations, China and India. The middle class in those regions are really starting to drive tourism and drive preferences and defining what travel and tourism will look like. As an anecdotal example of that, there are 5 major holidays that I think it's the Bellagio Hotel, they change out their floral and their botanical displays 5 times a year. And, there's 5 changes. There's like the classic holidays, there's like seasons, fall, winter, spring, Christmas being in the winter one, and then there's Chinese New Year, and that is the busiest time of year for them. And so my point is just to remind yourself that a lot of the literature that you're going to be consuming is going to be from a Western perspective. I'm going to do my best to add in where I can learning materials that might have you think about it from a different perspective, but just know that a lot of the information that you're going to consume has a Western lens to it. So we're also going to really take time to look at future trends that are going to impact travel and tourism. And this couldn't be any more relevant today. And this is one of the reasons I'm so excited to be here with you in this course and teaching this course, is to have the discussion of what is travel and tourism going to look like in a post-COVID pandemic era. This pandemic has been incredibly disruptive to the travel and tourism industry. We basically, it got completely shut down. The brakes got hit and we came to a screeching halt. Your passport became irrelevant, and in no other time in my life has that happened, and I'm sure no time in my parents' life, and honestly, probably not even my grandparents' life. Their parents, yes, for sure. During, the pandemic of 1918, but no time in recent history have we experienced anything like this. And so therefore, this is an incredible time in history to reimagine what and how it comes back. There is already so much talk. If you're interested in this topic, if you have been interested in this topic before, you might be noticing that there's a lot of discussion between airlines and what are they going to do? How are they going to require vaccination records before boarding an airplane? Is having a quarantine period going to be the norm from now on? What is this going to do to the shared economy? These are all things that, as tourism professionals and academics, we need to be asking ourselves, and we need to be anticipating what is coming. And so that's going to be a major part of our course. We're going to be taking a long look at that and having, honestly, this is probably going to be something that's going to be happening in our discussion boards, which I'll get to those in just a minute, but I do anticipate learning from all of you and learning from each other, and I'm really excited about this conversation. So bookmark that, because you're going to hear a lot about that. We're going to be looking a lot at the social, economic, and environmental aspects of travel and tourism, and the impacts to these social, cultural, political, environmental systems. Again, it's vast, it's diffuse, there are no boundaries to it. And so you can kind of get spun out pretty quickly in these areas as you sort of imagine and discuss what the impacts of travel and tourism are on these different sectors, but we will definitely do our best. This all, speaks to the complexity and the interrelatedness of it all. Travel and tourism is not just hotels and golf courses and restaurants and hospitality and airplanes and things like that. It's host communities, it is conservation, it is motivations, it is needs. It hits all of these areas, and so we're going to do our best to sort of talk about it and hopefully expand your mind and expand your curiosity about this topic. That's really what my goal is to really expand your curiosity about this topic. We're going to look at the ologies of tourism from an academic perspective. We're going to look at the psychological, sociological, and anthropological constructs of travel and tourism. This is where my academic background will come in. If you continue to pursue your studies in travel and tourism, you'll land in probably one of these areas. Not specifically in this area. You could also, I know tourism travel academics who are heavily involved in the sustainability and conservation biology sector as well. So, and we can talk a lot about that, and I have some background in that as well. So hopefully, if you have any questions, obviously you can always reach out to me and we can have a Zoom meeting and a Zoom chat to talk about these types of opportunities. But back in this course, again, the scale will be vast. We'll look at tourism and travel from a local, national, and international scale. We're also going to spend a fair amount of time talking about geography. This is something that is very important. You sort of cannot have a conversation about travel and tourism without geography. Geography is what is, I know it sounds silly, but it literally grounds the conversation into place. And it's an important aspect of it. So we're going to spend some time doing that. You're going to have geography quizzes because Americans, I think, are terrible at geography as well. And so we're going to do our best to change that here in this class. We're going to look at the benefits and challenges of tourism, which are vast, and these might be uncomfortable for you. They might cause you to question things that you've done in your past, like travel experiences. And you'll I think more come to appreciate the complexity and interrelatedness of all of these, the benefits and challenges, because it's not black and white always. There's a lot of gray area here. You're going to become familiar with the terminology of travel and tourism from a trade aspect, and we'll also be looking at the professional and governmental literature. There are, governmental, non-governmental organizations that use a lot of the same lingo, and you need to become familiar with those types of terminology in order to have conversations and write about these types of topics. And then we're going to also do a little bit of talking about service best practices. There's some fun stuff in this section about, what not to do, I think. But that sort of encapsulates the course overview. As academics, I really hope that this introduction is a catalyst for a deeper dive into the world of travel and tourism, where you might find a particular area of interest that sparks your enthusiasm and causes you to go a little bit deeper. And again, like I said, I'm always here to have that conversation with you as well. Okay, so this is a 3-credit course. Sorry, we have to dive into the nitty-gritty of all this, but this is a 3-credit course. The Arizona Board of Regents has a policy that for each credit, a student is expected to give a minimum of 45 hours of work. So 3 times 45 equals 135 hours of work for this course. Divide that by the 7.5 weeks that we are together, and you should expect to spend about 18 hours a week on this course, going through the modules and completing your assignments. I know it sounds like a lot, but remember, you signed up to be here, so see yourself to the finish line. I intend on making this as enjoyable as possible, and whether you are a major or you're taking this as an elective, I do hope that this is thought-provoking and enjoyable course for you. So we're here for a minimum of 135 hours together. Let's make the best of it. So our learning outcomes for this course, it being an introductory course, are vast. I expect by the end of this course that you'll be able to demonstrate knowledge of the history, characteristics, size, and scope, as well as issues facing travel and tourism, and you're going to see that all the time. TNT, that's a known abbreviation for travel and tourism, and I might say TNT, although I don't really actually like to say that too often, but you will see it abbreviated as such. You will have an understanding of the key themes and the driving forces in travel and tourism. You will be familiar with the terminology and jargon that's appropriate to the travel and tourism industry. As we talked about earlier, from trade, professional, government, non-governmental literature. You will have an understanding of the roles that those professional and government agencies play in travel and tourism. I don't think I can emphasize this enough, that you'll understand the complexity between the interrelationships between travel and tourism sectors within and adjacent to the industry. There's a lot of crossover that will become evident. And you'll also learn that it's that crossover makes it hard to sometimes quantify outcomes and tangible results. So that can be a challenge sometimes as well. We're going to explore the areas of the world where tourism occurs and become familiar with the geography of these places. Again, this is one of the most exciting aspects for me. I personally do sit and stare at maps all day long and imagine going to places and doing research on different places. And so we're going to do that together, and it should be really fun. We're going to relate psychological, sociological, and anthropological constructs to tourism. Psychological being individual aspects, how people feel when they're traveling, motivations of travel, those types of aspects, whereas sociological, we'll look at like impacts to communities and destination host communities. We'll look at sort of the crossover between tourism and conservation, which is kind of rooted in that sociological aspect. And then we're going to look at the anthropological constructs of tourism as well. So we're going to cover a lot. It's going to be really fun. We're going to explore the pluses and the negatives, or the benefits and challenges of tourism, socially, culturally, environmentally, and ethically. I think this is a really good conversation. These will probably happen quite a bit in our discussion boards as well. And then we're going to establish the familiar and become familiar with service best practices for the industry. Again, travel and tourism is a large phenomenon, and it can include things as well. Again, we'll talk about this in a post-COVID era, but conventions and hosting big events like the Olympics, types of things like that, all the way through, small bed and breakfasts in sustainable communities. We'll talk about some of those service best practices throughout the industry. And then we'll also explore the diverse career opportunities within the travel and tourism sector. Again, endless possibilities. And I think I've probably worked in half of them. And then we'll also gain insight from industry and academic guest speakers, which I'm so excited about that component for this course. Talking to people and meeting people throughout your travels is one of my favorite things, and hearing people's experiences of their travels and their experiences with their own personal research or their professional roles, I think is going to be really influential, and that's going to be really, really fun. So these are all things we're going to cover in 7.5 weeks. There are some technology requirements that you will need to have. Obviously, this is an online course, so you're going to need to have access to a computer, laptop, or desktop. Just note that Chromebooks and mobile devices will not provide full access to the ASU online course. You definitely need access to a computer to complete this course. You need reliable internet. You also should have a smartphone, webcam, or a digital recording device with a microphone and speaker. I might ask you to do short videos and post them onto Canvas, and so you need to be able to complete those assignments. So your web browser needs to be updated to the most recent version. I've been told that Safari, Explorer, and Edge have known compatibility issues with Canvas, so Chrome is probably your best option. Again, I'm not a tech wizard, and so if you all have any issues with the technology side of the course, I'll do my best to help troubleshoot it, but always reach out to the help desk first and foremost, because I'm not your tech guru. You also need Adobe Acrobat Reader or some other scanning software app that will enable you to turn your documents into an acceptable, I'm like blinking, into the format that it needs to be in. You need to have access to Word, PowerPoint, and Excel software, which, as you probably know, as a 200 level student, that Microsoft Office is free to students. You get Microsoft 365. If you go to the physical syllabus that's posted in Canvas, there is a link to that, so you can go through the steps to download the Microsoft 365 as well as the Adobe Acrobat Reader. I believe you get that one free as well. And then you're also going to need to use a citation software such as RefWorks or Mendeley or EndNote. This is going to help you with your research paper, your final paper, and you should just, as a student, you should know how to use these, and you should use these regularly. I personally use RefWorks. That's, the one that I'm familiar with and the one that I've used the most. So that's the one that I recommend. But you are free to use whatever citation software works best for you. Again, this syllabus is a roadmap to your success. A few more tips for how to be successful in this course. I just recommend that you log in and check the course daily. That's going to help you stay on top of it, not forget what needs to be done. In general, the modules will be released on Monday mornings at like midnight. And you will have basically a week to work through all of that coursework. Remember, it's a 7.5-week course. That time is going to fly by, and so I just really recommend that you log in and check the course daily. That's also going to allow you to read all of the announcements. If I have an announcement and something imperative that you see, it will be posted in the announcement section of the course, and then you should also be getting an email that notifies you of that course announcement. Make sure that you have your emails enabled. Do not disable them from Canvas. I think that's a really bad idea. And then obviously completing and understanding all of the learning materials in each course module. Make sure you're going through everything. Make sure that you are watching videos in their entirety and listening to podcasts in their entirety. I will be posting podcasts. Those are types of things that I listen to when I'm out walking my dog. So you can sort of be multitasking with those things while you're doing the dishes, cleaning your house, or whatever. And I think that just being able to take the time to completely go through all of the course learning materials is imperative. Also, anything that I put on Canvas is subject to being on the test. So if you need more motivation, there it is. Participating in discussion boards, this is a requirement of the course. You will be graded on that. I'll go into this more here in just a few minutes. But your participation in the discussion boards needs to be thoughtful, it needs to be respectful, it needs to be backed by research. You need to be able to cite your source of the information that you're presenting. But this is really a place for you to have really amazing, eye-opening discussions with your peers. I will be, popping in and out of the discussion groups. I'll definitely be monitoring them. You will be graded on them. And so I'm really excited for this aspect. So I just highly recommend participating in discussion boards in an intentional way. That will lead you to success in this course. Definitely complete assignments by the due dates as specified. We'll get into this a little bit more. I do not accept late work, period. So completing your assignments by the due dates is absolutely necessary for being successful in this course. Communicating regularly with your peers, asking questions in the community forum, and obviously communicating regularly with me as needed. We'll talk about how to do that the best. This course, you know, there's expected to be 80 to 100 students in this course, so I might not be able to answer every single one of your questions, and so you need to take, you know, the responsibility of seeing if you can find out your own answers first, and then coming to me as sort of your last resort. That doesn't mean I'm not approachable. That doesn't mean I'm not available. It just means that if it's something that you could potentially find the answer yourself, that is always the best route. I would recommend creating a study and assignment schedule to stay on track. You will have, you know, the due dates for your assignments that will be known, but just really creating a study schedule and making sure, you know, that you have everything for your assignments like in your calendar is just a really good idea. There may be study guides that I provide. It'll probably be more general, as I'm not going to quiz you on things like specific dates and things like that, but you know, there will be definitely areas that I'll ask you to definitely make sure you understand before going into the test. And then obviously you as a student at ASU have access to a plethora of resources, including writing labs and technological help and technological resources that you can like check out. So make sure that you are utilizing that to its fullest potential. I also want you to know that I want you to be successful in this course. That is my goal, and I think we can definitely do that together. So let's dive into the what is the course? Like, what are we going to do in this course? So the content is really, really simple. Everything is divided into modules. You have 9 modules total. You are currently in module 0. It goes through module 8. These are not the weeks of the course. You may have 2 modules assigned to you in a given week. So make sure that you're just aware of the due dates on the assignments for each module. But basically, this is how it's going to be broken down. 9 modules. Each module, you will have your learning objectives stated at the top of the in the top of the module in Canvas. You will have your learning materials. This could be assigned readings, videos, podcasts, instructor lecture videos, other things that I think are important. Oh, now you get to meet my dog. She's a little wild one. That's one of the benefits, side effects of working remotely, is that our pets are often in our office. So you might see or hear Birdie, my dog, or my foster dog who's laying back there somewhere, walking around in the background. So enjoy the furry companionship here. Okay, so within your learning objectives, you will have assigned readings, videos, podcasts, lecture videos, other things that I think are important. I'm also going to give you probably a plethora of resources, things to check out, you know, tips and recommendations. I might point you in the direction of, you know, some of my favorite magazines or, you know, something that pops up that seems to be of interest. I'll include that in the learning materials. You're also going to have, for every module, except for module 0, you're going to have a geography quiz. Again, geography is super important to talking, to sort of putting the discussion of travel and tourism into a physical space. And so it's just part of what we're going to be quizzing you on. I assure you they're really fun. And I think everyone will think they're really fun. Again, I'm the type of person who could stare at a map all day long, but you're also going to have a module assignment for each learning or for each module. And what that might entail, we'll get into a little bit later, but these are worth, I think 20 points for each module assignment and will be included within each module. You're also going to have your discussion board participation. And so, you know, again, I'm going to go through all of these and what they are in the next couple slides, but just wanted to give you a heads up that these are, you can expect to find these things within each single module. There's also going to be 2 tests of the learning materials. The first test will be modules 1 through modules 3. And then the second one will be module 4 through module 8. You do not have a final exam in this course. There is no comprehensive exam, but you do have two tests that are each worth 100 points throughout the course. And then lastly, you have your global attractions paper. We're going to dive into that. This is your final paper that you will be writing about a global attraction of your choice. And so let's go ahead and jump into what each of these things are and what they look like. Okay, so first and foremost, I do not take late work. There's no makeup for missing assignments or quizzes. I'm sorry, it's just the way it is. You have ample time to complete each assignment, and you are well aware ahead of time of the due date, so I do expect you to complete it and turn it in on time. We'll talk a little bit more about this, but that's kind of it, end of story. So the methods of evaluation, the way that you will be evaluated in this course, it's based on a point system. You basically work towards acquiring 700 semester points, as you'll see in the graph, maybe 720 if you're planning ahead. Again, 700 points are possible. You will accumulate these points through the completion of assignments, quizzes, discussion board participation, and your global attractions paper. Your performance and adherence to deadlines will be directly reflected in your grade. This is your grade. This is what you're earning. And so this is, you know, completely up to you how successful you want to be in the course. And again, we're going to make it fun. We're going to make it really, really engaging as much as possible in an online setting. I have confidence you can do this. As you'll notice, so I've broken it down, how many assignment points per assignment, how many times you'll see that assignment, so that's the frequency, and then your total semester points. You'll see that there are geography quizzes, which are worth 10 points each. You'll have 8 of those, modules 1 through module 8, for a total of 80 semester points. Same with your module assignments. They'll be 20 points each. You will have that 9 times. There's a module assignment due for module 0. Therefore, you have 180 semester points possible for module assignments. Learning materials tests, you'll have 2 of those, each worth 100 points, 200 points total. Discussion boards, again, those are 10 points per module, and then you will have 9 of those where you're asked to participate. So you will be asked in module 0 to participate in a discussion board conversation, and that will culminate in 90 semester points. Your global attractions paper is worth 150 points. That's just one paper, and 150 semester points possible. And again, I am offering one extra credit assignment worth 20 extra points. I'll say this over and over and over. Your extra credit assignment will be available now, and you can turn it in anytime before the end of the semester. I just suggest you do it. Just buffer your score. Get some extra points right away, because you never know what might happen. You might, miss a concept on a quiz. You might forget to submit something. There's a million things that could happen. Just here's your opportunity to raise your score 20 points right now. Okay, so let's talk through the individual components which make up the requirements in the course. So your geography quizzes. As I mentioned earlier, Americans are historically terrible at geography. I mean, it's terrible, and we're going to do our best to change that. Each module will contain a geography quiz, except for module 0, this one. I'm not going to do a quiz for this module. But quizzes are focused on a specific region or area of the world. So each week will be a different region. They are 10 questions each, and the structure of them is basically a global attraction will be listed, and it'll be your responsibility to research this attraction and learn a bit about it. And this part of it is like super fun. These quizzes are pretty low pressure. I mean, you can use the internet. And so you research the attraction and learn a little bit about it. And then you will be asked to select the number of the country where this attraction is found. So you'll be shown a map. The countries will have numbers on them. And then you'll basically identify the country where the global attraction is located. And then you're going to select the 2 types of tourism, which are the dominant forms of tourism for the attraction based on what you've learned about. So let's say, for example, your global attraction is the Space Needle in Seattle, and your the 2 types of tourism which are dominant for this area based on what you've learned about the Space Needle. You might find out that the Space Needle was erected and constructed for the World's Fair, and it's also like right on the Seattle waterfront, so it might be like maritime tourism and event, I might say like event tourism or something like that. So you would choose those 2. They're going to be pretty obvious, like desert tourism, probably not the best option for that. They are multiple choice, so you should be able to pretty easily suss out which 2 types of tourism are the dominant ones for that attraction. Anyway, afterwards, take a little bit of time to do what we're calling armchair traveling, because that's what we're all doing in 2020, 2021. We're all just armchair travelers, and take that time to learn a bit more about that attraction, the area. Who knows, it might be something that you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I want to go there so bad, and it'll start the process of brainstorming, the next trip when it's safe to travel. Okay, so next you have your module assignments. So these assignments will vary from module to module, but they could include anything from like a short research project, a critical thinking essay, a creative video submission, or an armchair traveler expedition of your own. I might ask you to take us all on a journey somewhere and post it in the discussion board. These module assignments are worth 20 points each, and you will have 9 of them due for 180 semester points. So your comprehension and understanding of the learning modules will be demonstrated by the completion of these module assignments. So, take your time with these, make sure that that you're turning in something that is of your own original thoughts, has works cited, you're using proper grammar and like spelling. This is an actual assignment that you are turning into me to be graded. So again, so they'll be graded on the quality of content, the correct grammar, punctuation, and then content and demonstrated understanding of the learning module. So that is the goal of these, and you'll have those for every single module. Okay. Your discussion boards. So group discussions are a super important part of the learning process to gain a deeper understanding of the learning materials. Having discussions with your peers who are definitely going to be thinking of things that you haven't been, and you're going to be able to collaborate and have these types of conversations, I think is imperative. It's especially imperative in an online learning environment because we tend to silo ourselves, silo ourselves, and just think that we have to be able to do all of this on our own. And as we move towards more remote working and being more in these online spaces, it's super important for us to connect. And so the discussion board is a required way of doing that. So basically, after completing your learning materials for each module, you're going to be required to participate in the group discussion board in a thoughtful, respectful, and research-backed manner. Again, your participation will be graded on the quality of engagement, the actual content that you are providing, and that it shows you're demonstrating that you have an understanding of the learning materials. So each week so after you're done with your learning materials, you'll go to the discussion board, and each week I will post a discussion topic or a question in the discussion board. And using the information that you learned in the learning materials, but also, going outside and using your own ability to do research and critical thinking to answer the question that I have posted in the discussion board. You're also required to respond to other students' posts. So here's a key to success: is do not wait until right before it is due, because you might not post in time for someone to respond, and that is going to be noticed by myself and the TA. So make sure that you are getting through the material and then going directly to the discussion board in order to engage in that thoughtful way. And you might find that this is like a really helpful tool for you in helping you see things from a different perspective, or to take your own thoughts a little bit further, right? You definitely need a community for that. And, super important in academia is having your peers read your material and review it and say, well, did you think about this aspect of it? And I think this is just a really good way of participating with your peer group. Again, it is required, and the discussion boards are worth 10 points each. Your participation is worth 10 points each. You will have this in 9 modules. So again, we will have a discussion board for module 0 and for 90 semester points. Okay, your global attractions paper. There's more detail in Canvas specific to this assignment. So make sure that you go there and read everything. The clock is ticking. You have 7.5 weeks to complete this assignment. I do suggest that you work on it every single day. Make time for it, because there's nothing worse than writing an 8-page paper in the last couple days. And also, I guarantee it won't be quality. So start now. Go to the Global Attractions paper assignment in Canvas and select your global attraction, or just start perusing and select your global attraction and look at the requirements for the paper and start working on it. The overview of it is that it's an 8-page paper of content. So with a title page and your works cited, you're looking at 10 pages. I do not want a 15-page paper. I do not want a 4-page paper. I want an 8-page paper. So here's an opportunity to learn to write in APA format using in-text citations and a works cited page. Condense your thoughts. This is something that I personally struggle with. I tend to be very elaborative, and so I tend to do overboard, and that has not been well received by instructors in my undergrad experience, and I understand why. Being able to be concise with your thoughts is a skill, so we're going to hone in on that skill. There's another aspect to this. So that paper is worth 140 points, and again, it will be graded on content and making sure that you've addressed all aspects of the global attraction, which are described in Canvas. But there's also a requirement for 3 PowerPoint slides. So you're going to make 3 slides in PowerPoint that's about your global attraction that you're going to post in the discussion board as well. Okay. So your paper basically will include an overview of the attraction and its surrounding areas, strengths and weaknesses, critiques and reviews of the attraction. If you're, I'll use Disney as an example because I'm not going to allow you to use anything Disney as your global attraction. But if you're talking about Disney World, you might talk about you definitely talk about how many people come there each year. You talk about who is drawn to this attraction. You might talk about the environmental impacts of this attraction. You might talk about the economic benefits of this attraction to the surrounding area. You're going to take a look from all angles of this area and do a report basically on this attraction. And then I want you to conclude with your own personal perspective on it as well. And know that there's no right or wrong in that. That's your personal perspective, but just make sure that you back it up with actual research and facts. And then those are obviously cited. No, do not plagiarize. We run these through a software to ensure that these are your own independent thoughts, and any plagiarism is a breach of intellectual integrity of your agreement with being an ASU student, and there are ramifications for that. So don't plagiarize, your own thoughts, backed by research, concise. That's your key to success. Okay, and then we'll talk more about, I'll send you a reminder all the time, like, yeah, you need to be working on this paper. And then also the due date for the 3 PowerPoint slides, because I do want those to be done prior to you turning in your paper so that other students can learn and see what your global attraction project is and what you've been working on, because I think that's a really fun. Okay, so your learning materials tests, these are these are your assessments. They are worth 100 points each. You will have 2 of them for 200 semester points. They will assess your comprehension and understanding of the course materials. Again, test 1 is modules 1 through 3. This will be taken in an online timed format. You'll have 24-hour window to complete this, and no test. Just know that the questions are randomized, and they won't be like, you can't do the same test with your friend in course, because you actually will have different tests. So, or not different tests, but they'll be in different orders. So have personal integrity. They are not hard. If you have gone through all the learning materials and have understood them, then you will do great on these tests. I guarantee it. Okay. Now I said there's no late or missing work. End of story. Well, but I am offering 1 extra credit assignment, and this is available in Canvas. This is to give you an opportunity to make up for any lost points throughout the semester. This assignment can be completed and submitted at any time during the semester. It will be added to your final points tally. I strongly suggest completing this as a way to buffer your final grade in case something comes up, or you're missing points on a quiz or an assignment or something. Do yourself a favor, just do the extra credit assignment, and you will be happier at the end of the semester, I'm sure. Submitting assignments. All assignments, unless otherwise announced, must be submitted in a designated area of Canvas. Do not submit an assignment via email. Assignments are the due dates. They follow Arizona Standard Time. So no matter where you are in the world, make sure you are submitting your assignment by the due date according to Arizona Standard Time. In the syllabus, I gave you a link that you can follow to a time converter to ensure that you're accounting for the differences in time zones. Also, Arizona does not observe daylight savings time. Amazing. One of my favorite things about Arizona. Additionally, it is your responsibility to check your assignments immediately after you upload to make sure that it is, 1, the correct assignment that you intended to upload, not a blank page, not an incorrect version, or the wrong assignment. I will not allow you to email the correct assignment or grant a request to reopen the submission area after the due date or the time. I can't do it at all. So it's your personal responsibility to make sure that you are submitting the correct assignment each and every time. Also, make sure it's in the proper specified format. So it either needs to be a Word doc, a PowerPoint, and if it's an Excel spreadsheet, a PDF, whatever I have specified for you to turn in, make sure that you turn what I've asked for in. I will not accept an assignment that is not in one of those formats or in the correct format. If there is some urgent situation that arises where you absolutely cannot submit the assignment by its due date, you need to let me know before the due date, not 11:58 p.m. on Sunday night when it's due at 11:59. If there's some situation that deserves potentially an exemption or an extension of the deadline, you need to notify me with ample time so that I know that your intention was to finish the assignment, but it is physically impossible. Then you can email me. But my tip to you is to get your assignments done early and correctly with plenty of time before the due date. That is the key to success. I was a notorious procrastinator, and it did me zero favors, believe me. Don't believe me. I'm just kidding. Okay. When questions arise during the semester, please remember that you have 3 resources to go to help you answer your question before you ask me. Go to the course syllabus. It's very likely spelled out there somewhere. Check the announcements in Canvas. If there is an issue or a question that has been popping up several times, I will definitely put an announcement in Canvas for clarification and addressing it. So make sure you check the announcements in Canvas as well. Then there's also a discussion topic that's called the community forum. And the community forum is basically your tourism community. You can go into the community forum, ask your question, ask your clarifying question, say, oh, I can't find this article or whatever it is. And, you know, this is your classroom setting. So help each other out. This is, you know, if not only can you post a question in there, but you can also, and you should also participate and help your fellow students out in answering their questions. Then, if there is still a question, if it's a question of a personal nature that, you know, is related to a personal emergency or a question on a grade that you received on an assignment or something else that needs to be communicated privately, then you can send me an email. Please make sure that the subject line reads TDM 205 with your last name to ensure that I see it in my inbox, because my inbox gets like filled so fast, and I want to be able to 100% see your student questions when they arise. So make sure that you've gone through these 3 steps beforehand. If you're still confused or if it's a personal nature, go ahead and email me, subject line TDM 205 with your last name. I will respond on email generally in office hours 8 to 5 on weekdays, and generally within 24 hours. So I will definitely do my best to do that. Also, I will be holding office hours, online office hours via Zoom. Basically, I'll have an open door policy for you to pop into my waiting room on Tuesdays and Thursdays between 11 and 12:30. Just know that if I'm with another student, that door will stay closed and you might just sit in the waiting room for a longer time. What I suggest is making an appointment that's specific for you and I, so that we can have a set time to talk about whatever it is that you need to talk about. Also, I love meeting my students, and like the online forum makes it so hard. So obviously, if you want to talk, you want to kind of sit down with a cup of coffee and chat, I would love to do that with you. So just reach out and schedule some time on my calendar for a little bit of a, you know, get to know each other, little coffee talk, whether it's you want to talk about opportunities you have upcoming, or if it's, you know, you're looking for some advice or you want to know more about my experiences and background, I'm definitely happy to have those conversations and get to know you better. So, okay, so with that said, I think it's time to get to work. I'm really excited to be teaching this course. This is, you know, a little bit lengthy of an overview of the syllabus, but again, this is sort of our agreement for the next 7.5 weeks, and I think it is very important to go over this together. Make sure you check out the other content in the learning materials for Module 0 and start your discussion board posting and your module assignment as well for Module 0. So happy to see you all here, and I really am looking forward to this semester.